The way I remember it, the year was 2005, and one day I saw an advertisement for a Basquiat exhibit at the Museum of Contemporary Art. I'm not sure if I knew about Basquiat before that exhibit. I know that I'm an avid museum goer. And when I saw this advertisement, I decided, hey, that's something for me to do. And I decided that I would go. I went to the exhibit and I was surprised by the artwork. I was surprised by the artist. There were live videos to watch to learn more about the artist's life. His artwork was right in front of me, and I was quite impressed that the artist was. I was definitely impressed that this was a black man. I'm not sure if I knew that he was a black man before going to the exhibit, but everything that I saw it deeply resonated with me, and it really perplexed me. When I saw the artwork initially, I thought, well, it looks like something a child could have drawn, could have painted. I didn't find it attractive. It was very crude and very ugly. And the artwork in which Basquiat's actual blood is dripped, is splattered or spattered, that was very, like, what's that all about? Like, wow, his actual blood is there. I didn't see it as the artist's commitment to his work. I didn't see it as an artistic or a poetic gesture or a poetic display. I just saw it as, wow, what the heck is this about? This guy is pretty intense. His footprints mark some of his artwork. So he literally walked on his art. These aspects of Basquiat's art were sort of just, I guess they were intriguing, and at the same time sort of off-putting. Like, what's going on? It was jarring. Like, I'm not used to seeing art like this. I think it has to do with the time, the 80s. It has to do with his lifestyle, his philosophy. It has to do with drug use. Sadly, it has to do with drug use. But what his artwork does is conveys ideas or ideals that resonated with him during his lifetime, the 60s through the 80s. But those ideals also resonate and rather ring true in the lives of other black men in America and perhaps black men around the world. You know, it's when you look at Jean Michel's artwork, you unmistakably get the sense that this was a black man who had pride in himself, because we often see the crown motif in his artwork, and that crown it's a big up. It's a prop. It's a flower given to black men and perhaps black women, but mostly black men in entertainers and athletes, musicians, okay? So in 2005, after seeing the exhibit, I was intrigued. I went to the library where I found a DVD copy of Downtown 81, the movie about Jean Michel's life, a semi-autobiographical tale. Now, what I heard Fred Brathwaite, who's known as Fab Five Freddy, describe Downtown 81 as the story about the community of artists at that time, but Jean Michel became the focus of that film. So he didn't start out starring in that movie, but it quickly evolved into a movie about him and about his life. If I'm not mistaken, I recall that being the information. Now, as far as everything that I know about Basquiat, I've gained it from watching the Basquiat movie starring Wright. Is his name Richard Wright? Because I don't want to confuse the author of The Invisible Man. See, I'm showing my ignorance. The author of The Invisible Man, was that Ralph Ellison or was that Richard Wright? Terrible of me not to know that fact. But the man who played, I need to just do a Google search really quickly. Excuse me. Let me see here. Have to get the facts right. La di da di da. Probably have to just edit this part out. Yes, so the author, the actor, I said Richard Wright. It's Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright is the actor who portrays Basquiat in the film Basquiat. So I watched the film Basquiat in order to, ingratiate myself in Basquiat's legacy, and to satiate my my curiosity about Basquiat. So I got that DVD from the library. I watched that. I found the Downtown 81 soundtrack, and I've been listening to that soundtrack probably since I found the DVD. And since 2005, I've been aware of Basquiat, and anytime I've seen a Basquiat exhibit, anytime I've seen a Basquiat exhibit, I've always made it a point to attend. I recall in 2018, I believe it was, I was traveling internationally, and I had a layover in Frankfurt, Germany. Yes, it was 2018. When I arrived in Frankfurt, I toured the city alone, and I happened upon a Basquiat exhibit entitled Boom for Real. And this was the most serendipitous moment. I was so happy that my travels coincided with the dates of this exhibit. And so when I approached the doors, I looked and I saw that the museum was not only open, but that I wasn't too late for the exhibit or too early. It wasn't just a promotion, but it was going on at that moment. That day, that week, it was going on, and I happened to be in Frankfurt, Germany, and I thought, man, this is amazing. This is amazing to have met this opportunity or to have had this opportunity. So I go in there, and I'm thinking about the exhibit from 2005 that I witnessed in Los Angeles, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm so lucky to have had this experience here in Frankfurt, Germany. And I recall looking at the a lot of the same artwork, and then so many other works of his that were new. that I hadn't seen before, or rather I had seen pictures of. That was very cool. For instance, there's the Beat Bop 12-inch vinyl that I believe he wrote on, signed it maybe, or maybe it was just the 12-inch vinyl of the actual album that he had produced with the help of Ramel Z. And they were showing Downtown 81 in its entirety. And there were so many things to look at, so many things to experience. I was so delighted to have had that experience, especially in Germany of all places. There I was in 2005, there I was again in 2018, and here I am now in 2022, ruminating on Basquiat and his legacy, because his painting is an expression of his experience as a Black American. And whether you are a Basquiat, a Frederick Douglass, or a Nipsey Hussle, three of my heroes, you find that these men are doing the same thing. They're speaking the same language. They're saying that essentially that the Black man is God. They are elevating the Black man from the societal, the social structure, the social governance. Thank you, Dr. Carr. The social governance says the Black man is lowly, is a slave, a gangbanger, a graffiti artist, homeless. The social structure is defining the Black man as this, but in each of these men's lives, they've uprooted themselves from those positions to become gods. In my eyes and in the eyes of many other. Frederick Douglass, with his oratory skills, learns English, and the man becomes a statesman, an orator, an author, a freed slave, once enslaved man. He becomes a free man. He becomes the ambassador to Haiti. I mean, who can do that? Who but a God can rise from that lowly position? Nipsey Hussle, a young, poor gang member in Los Angeles in his short 33 years of life, ascends from a poor level to the heights of our material world, to being rich, to become famous, but also to have a very deep impact on the people who listened to his music, who were his fans. And then even still, his legacy transcends those people. It knows, his legacy knows no bounds, because when you learn about a Nipsey Hussle, you discover he's not confined to his fans who like his music. But when you learn about what happened in his lifetime, you discover, man, you've got to appreciate his business acumen, his intellect, his ability to articulate his ideas. And you don't just think of him as a gang member. He's ascended all of that. Just as his name, Ermias, means God will rise. Essentially, that's what Nipsey did. And then Basquiat goes from being a lowly graffiti artist to becoming the highest paid. You know, his artwork was purchased for $110 million. That's the most any artist, any contemporary artist, or maybe even any artist has ever sold their work for. So he goes from being a homeless graffiti artist, runaway kid, high school, dropout, to becoming this mega superstar. So, and yet their lived experiences and their challenges with racism, discrimination, and because of their blackness and being black, is the central theme that parallels all of their lives, because of the not only the social governance, but of the actual governance, the governing body, the law that that states, black bodies need to be policed. That threat is real. That threat is real. So in 2005, I was there. In 2018, I was there again. In 2022, a new exhibit will open in New York in April. One that I will not be there for when it opens, but one that I hope to attend while it is still running, because it looks like it's going to be an amazing experience. I think they've mentioned that it will be immersive, similar to the Van Gogh experience, similar to the Tupac Shakur Wake Me When I'm Free, which is a phenomenal exhibit going on right now in Los Angeles. So to be immersed in Jean Michel's world, Jean Michel Basquiat's world, will be just phenomenal, fascinating, intriguing, and very extremely worthwhile. I think that when you have such rich legacies and you study them, you can and you cross study, you can see you can compare, and you can see the similarities, you can see the parallels of themes in their lives, because their lived experiences were not wholly different from the others, even though the time frame changes. So very much, it's very real that the struggle must go on. But it's empowering. It's absolutely empowering to study these men's lives. And I'll say that here's something to trip off of. When I was in school, I never heard of a Basquiat. And the reason goes along those lines of, what purpose does it serve to, actually educate someone? Through education, we gain freedom. And in a very real sense, our education wasn't designed to free us, to free our minds, but rather to enslave us to a narrative, to certain ideals. And when I learned about Basquiat, I became freer. I became more comfortable with myself, because I saw a reflection of myself. I saw a reflection of something in myself. And although I was chasing a corporate ideal of success, when I saw Basquiat's artwork, I discovered, no, you are already a success. Okay? Take ownership of that. Have pride in yourself. And that was a very poignant message to receive from his artwork. I was saying that we aren't taught. I wasn't taught about Basquiat. And to have his legacy, to have his lived experience, his everything that is about Basquiat, to have that withheld from you, and only for it to have been shown you know, during a museum exhibit and not having it included in a curriculum or not having his work mentioned at some point, it really goes to show that, you know, in a capitalist society, the purpose of sharing this information is oftentimes only to make money. And so when I happened to learn about Basquiat, it was during the museum exhibit, and that was an exhibit to, you know, earn money. But the importance of his artwork, the importance of the lessons, the cautionary tale of his life with regards to drug use, the importance of the messages in his artwork, uplifting his people, placing the crown above their heads, our heads. It's so important, and yet we aren't exposed to it, but only when there's a profit motive, only when there's money to be made. And that reminds me of what today I saw Nelson George. Nelson George posted a picture to Instagram of what he saw right now in Los Angeles at the corner of Fairfax and maybe 3rd Street. Right there at the corner, there is the sign that reads, it's an advertisement for the Bill Cosby documentary with Kamau Bell, W. Kamau Bell. And it says, it's supposed to say, we have to talk about Cosby. It's about Bill Cosby. We have to talk about Cosby. And yet some graffiti artists have gone in and changed that to change the wording. They painted over some words. They drew some lines in order to change the wording. So instead of it saying we have to talk about Cosby, it now reads we have to profit off Cosby. And that is really what is key here. Why did it take so long for me to learn about this great contemporary artist, Jean Michel Basquiat? Because there was no profit in it. There was no reason to share the information. Because there is no profit in liberating the African. There is no profit in liberating the black man. There's only exploitation that is key to the capitalist society. And so we're watching it again and again. And Bill Cosby is an example. R. Kelly is an example. Jean Michel Basquiat during his lifetime is an example. So his artwork is phenomenal, and the experience, his lived experience, is not unlike that of Nipsey Hussle, Bill Cosby, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Frederick Douglass, Fannie Lou Hamer, Rosa Parks, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, James Baldwin, Dick Gregory, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy. It's not so different. It's Black History Month, y'all. Peace.